So once again, it looks like the Watchtower is trying to cover up incriminating evidence. This assembly hall that was constructed by Jehovah's Witnesses to resemble the all-seeing eye, well, it looks like that the Watchtower organization is trying to cover up the fact that they own this building and cover up the fact that they have ever met there at all for assemblies. So I thought it was important to do this video because I can see that they're already trying to get rid of all the evidence that this building belongs to them and that it was their assembly hall. So for any Jehovah's Witnesses that aren't familiar with the all-seeing eye and are not really into conspiracies, well, you don't have to be really into conspiracies to see that something is wrong with this building. So just for those JWs that aren't familiar with the all-seeing eye or the Illuminati or the Freemasons, if you have a dollar bill, a US dollar bill, on the back of the US dollar bill, you're going to see this pyramid and all-seeing eye at the top of it. And if you make a star shape and a hexagram where these points meet, spells the word Mason. So that's one of the secret society things connected to the Freemasons. And then you see at the bottom, Novus Ordo Coelum, or whatever that says. So that basically says New World Order in Latin. I think it's Latin. I'm not an expert at it, but I think it's Latin. But it basically says New World Order. And you can see information on what that says by just searching that term. And that's what that term on a dollar bill means. It means a new order of the ages. In Latin, New World Order, same thing. So this video is not meant to be about conspiracies, but basically just for any XJW that doesn't understand why it is a problem that Jehovah's Witnesses constructed a building like that. Well, that's what it's connected to. And if you look on the left here, this is a picture blown up from the dollar bill. And you can see at the top of the eye, you see these individual lines at the top of the pyramid. And if you look at this assembly hall, the grass is cut in the exact same way, those individual lines at the top. So there's no way that this building could be constructed like this by accident. So the fact that Jehovah's Witnesses own this building and it was their assembly hall in Denmark, it seems like, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but after I was on the Michael Jekyll show and I exposed this in front of a large audience, right after that, it seems that the Watchtower started to basically start to scrub the internet and get rid of evidence that they've ever owned this building. Now, I know I'm not the first XJW to talk about this building, but the thing is that when I went in the Michael Jekyll show, there was probably about 100,000 people watching it live because it was a live show. And then on his channel, if you go to his Rumble channel, there's another, it's almost at 55,000 people who watched it on his channel. Plus, there's been a lot of other people reposting and sharing the video. So it's definitely well over 100,000 people that had actually seen when I broke this down on a Michael Jekyll show. And right after that, it seems like the Watchtower is basically trying to cover up any connection to this building at all. So I felt it was necessary to make this video and show you the evidence that this indeed is a building owned by them and that they did have assemblies and conventions there. Because once they get rid of all evidence that they were connected with this building, then you know what JWs are going to say. Jehovah's Witnesses are going to say, we never met at that building. It's an apostate lie. Right? That's exactly what they're going to say. And it's kind of similar to when the Guardian exposed the fact that they were part of the United Nations. Within 24 hours of the article posting, we know what they did. They pulled out of the United Nations. And it seems like after I went on the Michael Jekyll show, that soon after that, they're starting to try to pull all the evidence that this building has anything to do with them. So the first thing that I want to show is I want to make it very clear right from the start, before I get into the evidence, that this is indeed a real building, and anybody can find this on Google Earth or any type of live satellite. So if you go on Google Earth, type in this exact address, just like that on Google Earth. So after you type in this exact address on Google Earth, this is basically what it's going to do. So I'm going to type it here on Google Earth, and for anyone watching, you can do the same thing. And you see it brings you right there. And this is not photoshopped or anything. This is not something made up. This is not something an apostate did. You can look at any live satellite and you can pull this image up. Pretty much Google Earth is the main one that we'll use, but if you have access to any other type of satellite, that's the address, and you can see it from an aerial view. So there's no question that this building exists. That's the address. Anybody can find it. So the next thing that I want to show that's important So this is my YouTube channel, and this is my posting of the Michael Jaco video. So I had to edit it for YouTube, but if you want to find the full version, you can find it on Rumble on Michael Jaco's channel. So if you see here at the bottom in the video description, you can see that I posted it August 30th, 2023. Right? If you can see where my mouse is at, that's what it's showing. So I posted it August 30, 2023. Now, if you go to Michael Jaco's channel, he has the original posting of it when it was live, and it was actually posted on April 27th, I believe. It was either 27th or 28th. I think it was 27th. So that's when I was live on his show in front of a large audience. There could have been 100,000 people watching it live because he has big audiences. And then on a repeat, the video is up to 55,000 people on his channel. But that date is significant. August 30th, 2023 is when I posted it, and he posted his on August 27th. Now, what I want to show about this video that's going to show evidence is that in this part of the video, and I start to break down the assembly hall, after I went on Google Earth and put in that address, I then typed in live, or not live, but basically street view, where you can see like a real picture of it. So on the street view, and I did this on his show, you can see that the Jehovah's Witness assembly sign is still here. You see it on the right? I don't know what that says in Denmark language, but it says right here Jehovah, and you see jw.org. And this is the entrance to the All-Seeing Eye Assembly Hall. And if you look right here, you see those lines, those grass lines, like those are the lines at the bottom of the base of the pyramid. And the JW sign is right there. This is their building. Now, the way Google Earth works is that depending on what image you're looking at, some of the images are old. They're not always updated. So this image, you can see that if you look at the bottom right, now you're not going to see it because it's too small, but if you can see where my mouse is right here, it actually says the date that that stock image was taken. And that's very significant. So I'm going to show a picture of that blown up so you can better see what it says. Image captured September 2019. So this version of Google Earth, because it looks like they even updated the whole version of Google Earth, but this version of Google Earth, this is what it showed. So just to clarify, when I showed this image on the Michael Jaco channel live, it was August 27th. And it said stock image September 2019. So that particular image was not updated. So on September 2019, you can see that the JW sign was still there building in 2019. And again, I showed this and looked it up on August 27th, 2023, which was just technically less than 2 months ago. So now if you look at this image, like if you go on Google Earth now and look at that image, the sign's gone. So from just less than 2 months ago, when I looked up this image, it was a 2019 stock photo, and you could see that the jw.org was still there the last time that this was updated on Google Earth. So within 7 weeks, it was probably right after, I don't know exactly when they changed it, but it looks like the Watchtower organization made sure that this image was updated and that the sign was removed. Now, this version of Google Earth, it doesn't say at the bottom when the stock image was taken. I don't know if it's called stock image, that's just what I'm calling it. But it's very faded. It doesn't matter how much I blow it up on this video, you're not going to be able to see it. But if you go to that address and then look at the street view, you're going to notice that it's saying Google 2023, but it's no longer saying what year or month it's updated to. It's just saying Google 2023. So the image has changed and the sign is gone. And it also looks like in the middle, if you look at those lines at the base of the pyramid, it looks like it's not being kept up with anymore. So within the last 7 weeks after I went live on Michael Jaco's show and showed proof, they now removed the sign and updated the Google image. And now it's not there. So now, like if you were to show this to a Jehovah's Witness, this building, they might say, oh, that's an apostate lie. It's not our building. And I also noticed that if you now go on jw.org and you look for assemblies and you look for Denmark, this address is no longer showing up. They're now meeting somewhere else in Denmark. So they even changed their website and they removed the sign. So they're trying to cover it up. Now I want to show now just a side-by-side image. So the top one, just to emphasize it, was taken August 2027, live on Michael Jaco show in front of probably 100,000 people watching it live. And that was a stock image. The sign was there. It was clearly still being used by Jehovah's Witnesses. And then at the bottom image, which has been updated in the last 7 weeks since I did that interview, the sign's gone, right? They don't want anybody to know that this is their property and that they used to meet here. And now if you go on the website, there's no evidence that they ever met at this building. The Denmark Assembly is a completely different address. They're no longer using this building anymore. And we all know that that's how Jehovah's Witnesses operate. It's just like when the Guardian exposed them of the United Nations. What did they do 24 hours later? They withdrew from the United Nations. So now I'm going to show you that you can still find evidence that indeed this building is owned by Jehovah's Witnesses, or at least was. I don't know if they sold it yet, and that they did have conventions and assemblies there. So I encourage anyone watching this video to type in this address and try to get as much evidence as you can that this is a Jehovah's Witness building, because it looks like they either sold it or they're in the process of selling it, but basically they're going to try to pretend that they had nothing to do with that building and tell their members it was an apostate lie. So you can type this address in, just like that on Google Earth. Just type the address in. You don't even have to put Assembly Hall, but just type that address in Google or any search engine. And then you're going to see basically different evidence that still exists that that building is indeed theirs. So you'll see like different things will come up that will still say Jehovah's Witnesses when you type that in. And I'm going to show you a couple of them that kind of just stood out to me that are pretty obvious. So this one right here, Wikipedia Commons. So this is showing on Wikipedia Commons that address, it's actually showing them having a convention. Now this is the inside part of that building. So you can't really tell too well from looking at that image that this is that building, but this is from the inside of it. But if you scroll down, and when you scroll down, you're going to want to look at the date at the bottom. So see, you can see right here, you can see date and time, July 2010. So in July 2010, Wikipedia Commons, they had this as registered Jehovah's Witness building, Assembly Hall, and it even has a picture of them having an assembly there. So we know that in 2010, it was being used. So now I'm going to take a look at a couple other ones. Now this is something somebody posted on Facebook. And whoever this person was, when they searched it on, now this looks like probably like an iPhone or a smartphone that the image is from. And on this, it's showing Convention Area of Jehovah's Witnesses actually on Google Maps. Like it's coming up as that. It's saying Convention Area of Jehovah's Witnesses. So again, this is not a lie. This is not something apostates came up. This is what Google Maps had it registered as, Convention Area of Jehovah's Witnesses, and you can see it right there. Now, if you look at the right side, if you look up here on the right corner, the date that this was posted was October 24th, 2018. So in 2018, we can see that it's still coming up as Convention Area of Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, granted, just because he posted this in 2018 doesn't quite mean that the photo was in 2018, but probably pretty close to it. But the main point is, again, it says Convention Area of Jehovah's Witnesses on Google Maps. So now I'm going to go to one more. And Yellow Pages. Okay, so this is Yellow Pages. And you can see it's Yellow Pages, and if you look right here, well, one, it says Jehovah, so it's coming up again, Jehovah, on that address. I don't know what that says in Denmark language, but if you look on a little picture of the map here, you can see this is the All-Seeing Eye Pyramid Building, right? So this is coming up on Yellow Pages, same thing. So all of these different websites obviously have it correct. This is coming up as Jehovah. Now, if this was just a building that they were renting to hold assemblies there, it's not going to come up as Jehovah. It's going to come up as whatever the name of the stadium or hall that they're renting. But when it comes up as Jehovah, no matter what you look at, that's also showing that this is something owned by them. That's why it's called Jehovah. It's not used for anything else but Jehovah's Witness conventions. That's why it's coming up in the name Jehovah. So now going back to Google, this is what I want everybody to do watching this, is now type in Assembly Halls of Jehovah's Witnesses, Denmark. Now you don't even need the address for this. All you got to do is type in Assembly Halls of Jehovah's Witnesses, Denmark. And this is just going to be even further proof that this is their building. Now this first one, this is straight something from Google directly. It says Assembly Halls of Jehovah's Witnesses in Europe. And it's coming up as just Google. So if you check this one out, and again, this is Google, this is not just some random website, and you're going to notice on the left-hand side where it says European Assembly Halls of Jehovah's Witnesses, and it says 88 more at the bottom. So then you can see there's 4 different Denmark locations listed. But the fourth one, this is the one that we were looking at. And as you can see where that dot is, that's where it's pointed at as Assembly Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses, Denmark, one of them. And as we zoom in on it, it's the All-Seeing Eye building. Now, going back to the left side, if you look at this box over here, we can see that it even says jw.org, right? That's the link for this building, jw.org. And it says Jehovah on it. Now, it looks like, again, I don't know if they actually sold the building or they're just trying to pretend they never met there or what, but it's still showing up as Jehovah's Witness building and an assembly hall, even though Jehovah's Witnesses are trying to cover it up. Now, it also says photo gallery. So there was actually photos of them having conventions in this building, right? The photo gallery, jw.org. So let's click on the photo gallery and see the photos, right? Well, isn't that convenient? They're already getting rid of the evidence, right? The Watchtower certainly can't have any photos left up of them having conventions there. So they already made sure to basically take any photos that were there. And most likely it was Jehovah's Witnesses that would have attached photos to this. So the photos are gone. How convenient, right? But notice the address still said Jehovah's Witnesses on it. And once again, we know this is what Jehovah's Witnesses do even with their older literature. Every time something gets exposed, they basically try to remove it from history, right? And then they'll say, we don't know what you're talking about, right? We never met at that assembly hall. We were never part of the United Nations, right? We never said the world was going to end in 1975. This is what they do. They erase their history and then gaslight their members and say, it's an apostate lie. However, even though that they've tried to remove the photos, I did manage to find a couple of photos that are floating online showing Jehovah's Witnesses actually meeting there. So even though that they're trying to get rid of the evidence, there are photos that basically still exist. So this is one photo that I found, and you can see this is like the indoor part of the assembly. It looks like it's still kind of outdoor, like open. But if you look in the middle here, it's hard to see, but this is the eyeball, right? The stage is in the center of the eyeball. And you can see the big screen here. So this is the eyeball part of the assembly. And you can see this is obviously a Jehovah's Witness convention. Now this next one is probably the biggest piece of evidence that's clear, because you can now really see the eyeball right here. And that's the ring around the eyeball, and this is the eyeball. And it looks like during this photo they're basically having their like noon break, because they're walking around, like they're kind of walking around near the stage. But you can see that they have their TV screen, their big monitor, and the podium's here too. You can't really probably see that, but the podium's here and the monitor's here. So this convention is set up so that they're giving talks and have the monitor and the center of the pupil of the eyeball, right, of the all-seeing eye. So this is how this building is constructed, that they would give their talks directly in the middle of the eyeball. It's impossible that this building is constructed like that just by chance. This is a very specific design. And my question is, what are they trying to tell us by having their stage in the center of the eyeball? That's definitely saying something secret society. And so you can clearly see this is that building, and they're meeting there. Now here's another image just from Google Maps, Google Earth. And this is just a picture from Google Earth that shows the stage directly, right? So this is the ring around the eyeball, and where this little platform is, this is the center of the eyeball. They have this convention set up so that they're talking and speaking in the center of the eyeball of the all-seeing eye and pyramid. So what does that mean? And now I just want to go back to that other image. And there's the center of the eyeball, right where their big monitor is at. So there's no question that this is their building, or at least I can say it was. And as you can see again, they removed the sign. They removed the sign and they updated the Google image because they're trying to now pretend they never met there. So please share this video, and please take any content off of it and save it, and basically try to get the word out that they're trying to cover this up. They're trying to pretend now that they never met at this building. And once they maybe sell the building and remove all the evidence that they can, then when you try to show this to a Jehovah's Witness, this all-seeing eye building, you know what they're going to say. They're going to say, what are you talking about? We never met there, because if you go on jw.org now, this address doesn't exist. They're now meeting in another place in Denmark. So clearly they're trying to cover it up once again, and it is our job from the XJW community to basically expose what we know.